2, 1. And we're live. Boom. Just like that. All you guys out there that are picking up our picture right now, I just need you to comment on the quality of the audio. All you guys. How's the audio out there? And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Back from Crestone. Just got back about 60 minutes ago or so. Ho. I could see 20 people watching. And I can only hear myself. So check good, says Vari. Prepper Zipper 1, no booms yet. Victor Deb says, I can hear you. Now, it's not the tinny sound that sounds like crap. This is the good mic sound, correct? This is the sound coming from this mic. It's like deep and reverberating. All right, so we had a great time in Crestone. I gave out 1 pound of cannabis in just under a few hours. Everyone was very happy. Leak Project is in the house. And we're going to do just a few experiments tonight. Whoa! And the first one is, can you see my screen? Yes, sir. Okay, you guys all heard about the Indonesia Java quake that killed scores and injured hundreds. This happened just under 24 hours ago, or just around that time frame. And it barely got above anything that's significant. It was a 5.6 magnitude quake that struck near Cianjur town in West Java, and it crushed scores of people. This is because of the poor construction in the region. And we've brought light to this many times before, how they can have 7 and 8 magnitude quakes off the coast and nothing happens. But a little 5.6 on the continental plate there, which is the island, and all hell breaks loose. And our hearts and our prayers go out to the people in Indonesia, in Java especially, as the quake has killed scores of people. And this is an underestimate. There's very poor estimating of who's been buried. And Java is far north of this quake, so it's likely that the death toll is much higher. As you can see here in downtown Java, just the devastation there. Yeah, the Solomon Islands quake killed no one because that's a pretty normal activity in the Ring of Fire there, and it was offshore, and there is no continental crust there to be shaken so dramatically like it got shook here in Indonesia. My goodness. Whew, that was like a little mind-blowing. I don't like when it gets all the screens line up. So how's everybody doing? Desert Rose is in the house, Enduring Hope. We got 100 people here. Good news. Trish, Blasting Game, Pull My Finger, Jerome Schickler, Keith Evans, Dawn Griffin, Kenneth Winkler, Sandy Hurd, Aspen English, Melinda Biddle's in the house, Coin Dragon, Enduring Hope, J Money, Glor T, Vari, Eric Court, easy going, dude. Rex Bear, Leak Project. Who else is in the house? All right, we're here just for a little bit for you tonight. I didn't have enough time to set up anything significant as an update. We'll do that early in the morning. I'll just get to bed here quickly. We had an amazing time and an amazing hike up to where they retired the Buddhist flags in Crestone. And those that you watched the live stream on Magnetic Reversal News earlier today, we're privy to that. It's a very secret location. And a good friend of mine named David, who owns the property at the trailhead, gave me some of that data to get up there. He's also owns the Buddhist temple, and his partner teaches there. They both teach there. So I'm going to be getting into some of that spirituality in the near future and maybe sharing it with you guys. But just amazing things going on in Crestone, and just the fact that we're able to eat with hundreds of people over that time frame is so healing and revealing at the same time. The type of like-minded people and the conversations that go on, literally, you're sitting there and the sun is setting and you're getting frostbite and you don't want to move. The conversation is so engaging. And then at some point, someone's like, everyone, we're freezing to death. We have to leave here. So really good times up there in Crestone. And if you've never been there, I recommend every human being that has a chance to get out there in Crestone to take that drive out there. The good news is that most of you got to take Route 17 in one way or another to get there. And if you're on 17 south of Crestone, where Road T kicks off to Crestone, that is like the alien superhighway in the San Luis Valley. It has the alien tower and the alligator farm. You can buy fresh trout there. There's several hot springs, joyful journeys. There's a nudist colony up on the hill. There is something for everyone. There's the sand dunes. And there is just so many things that everybody can do. It's just an amazing area in the middle of nowhere. So if you get a chance to go to one of the highest deserts in the world, check out the San Luis Valley. Start from the north, come from Salida, come through, check out all the towns. But make sure you know what you're doing and you look like you know where you are, because people get taken advantage of all over the world. So I don't like to send people out that are unprepared for what's really happening in the world, right? If you look like a sucker, you're going to be taken advantage of. So don't be a sucker. I hope nobody watching this channel is a sucker. All right, so pretend like you have a gun at all times. That's all you got to do. James Irwin in the house. And who else? Who's Schmatty Stories? I bet you got a great channel if you actually have one. Doob Cruz is in the house. Speaking of Doob Cruz, we got some amazing cannabis. When you go over into the San Luis Valley and many places, Angie Lincoln Dasher with a $10 super sticker. We appreciate you kicking ass, taking names. This is one of the cannabises that we were able to pick up on the way home. This is let me see what this says. Royal Wedding. Royal Wedding, 32%. This is a hybrid. And for 1/8, it's coming in at just under $23 for an eighth. And I got some more good news. Right at the edge of the valley in Del Norte, they have some concentrates. Whoa. I picked up some shatter and some wax. See if I can crank that so you can see it. I got some shatter and some wax. 2 grams, $28 for 2 grams. That's $14 a gram. So I'm sure many of you across the nation are wondering how this is possible. Well, it's because you live in the wrong area. So I got 2 grams of concentrate at 80% or more of shatter and wax for less than $30. These are each equivalent to an eighth. So, and an eighth for $23. So for $55, I got 2 grams of concentrate and an eighth for what I just told you, which is unimaginable. You could flip that in any major city for $200 in a second. So I'm not giving you any ideas here, but the point is that legalization of these plant medicines is a boon for society. People that were living in squalor and misery in trailer parks that felt destitute now have a sense of purpose because they have the plant medicine to bring them into homeostasis, their immune systems. They're not as sick. It's not a good thing. Like, look, if you're living on Cheetos and Pop-Tarts because that's all you can afford and a $1 box of pasta, if you have access to cannabis or plant medicine like cannabis and it can make your immune system more effective, then you're going to be healthier than you were without it. So that's what we're imploring everyone to go get some cannabis medicine in any form. You can smoke it, you can eat it, you can do edibles, you can do concentrates, you can eat the shatter or the wax. You can just do little dabs in your mouth. You can eat it before you go to bed. Just go bye-bye time. Another thing that's coming to I got a lot. I got so much to share with you guys. We don't even need a radio show. Take a look. This came while I was gone. This is our first edition of our new shirt. You can get it linked below every video. The new ones say Biden Fetterman 2024. It's no brainer. So if you want to make fun of the schmucktards that make you miserable, just wear this out to the supermarket with like some purple hair or something. And look at all the people that smile at you that think that you're being real. And then you know who's being real stupid. So that's a great thing that just came in. Also, our friends, Listen Provision. Of course you love it. Melinda Biddle is cracking up. All right, our friends over at Hemp Lucid have sent us a fistful of these vapes, which we're going to be giving out. But you can get these vapes. They used to be $30 for, these are the Delta 8 vapes. They come in strawberry and blueberry. They used to be $38. They're $6 now on the site on clearance. They're getting out of the vape game. So you can get like 10 of these for $60. I think they're 300 or 400 milligrams, and you can get a fistful for like $60. This will last you for a year or two. So if you like the Delta 8, go over to Hemp Lucid and get the vapes. They also have some new products, and I am privy to them coming in today. Oh, shit. Hold on. All right. So what they got going on here is a new... Yeah, this is some good stuff. Take a look at this. This is their new mushroom complex. I don't know if you can get it in there. Like I have a cameraman. I'm asking my cameraman, which is my camera up here, to get that in there. Can you get that in there, camera? You see what that says? I know you can. It says herbs and mushrooms. So they have a whole bunch of new products on herbs and mushrooms for all types of support. This is the sleep support, herbs and mushrooms. It has things like chaga, has memory mushrooms. The future is mushrooms, kids. Let's see what else we got in here. Man, this is a great package from these guys. So we've got some individual the herbs and mushrooms gummies. Holy mackerel. I think I may just jump some of these down here. Oh my God. They can't be bad for me. So I just got down to the gut, whatever those mushies are. And then look, I have this killer little empty jar to use for future products, which I may want to hand out to people for free. Because that's what we're all about. We're all about freeing the nugget. Fuck it. It's time to free the nugget. And those people that support us, oh my God. That was the most delicious gummy I've ever had. I think I might just have to do a little flute song for the delicious gummy. What do you guys think? Do we need a little... Wow, that is a killer F sharp flute there that I'm playing there. So please, it's not hard to play native flute. If you got a good source, if someone has a really good tuned product, you can learn how to do it yourself. And I recommend everyone, please check out Hemp Lucid. They don't give us any dollars here, but they really hook us up because we have been supporting them and the work they've been doing for the last 5 or 6 years. We wear their merch. We support product. they source everything locally and organically and beyond organic. So even if certain people are not certified organic, but they're doing it in a better practice than organic, then they go and get that product. So if you're looking for the best pure plant medicine, check out the Delta 8 vapes that they now have on clearance. They're like $7 each instead of $38. So if you're looking for something to help you relax, get you calm, this is completely legal in all 50 states also. So it doesn't have any THC in it. And maybe like a step into the cannabis medicine. Delta 8 is the way to go. That comes from hemp. And check out the new mushrooms that they're going to be putting out. I don't know much about them. They're probably not up on the website now, but these are functional mushrooms, and they're doing it here. It's called Herbs and Mushrooms. There's sleep support. I think there's immune support. There might be a stress support. There's usually 3 protocols. But what you need to know is that the powers that be have been shutting down all of these types of alternative medicines since most of us have been born. Homeopathic medicine is being attacked. Herbal medicine now is being attacked as not being FDA approved. Now, granted, anything FDA approved will probably give you cancer or keep you sick for long periods of time. Thank you, Melinda Biddle, for the big boom. And in honor of Melinda Biddle, who is the queen of the truckers up in Canada, we want to implore you to go over and get some of the shirts that we have over on our site, including Biden Fetterman 2024. The newest shirt says it's a no-brainer below it, and because it is. I mean, why wouldn't you want the world to be the 2 dumbest humans that ever existed to be running it? I mean, hello? Give me a teleprompter. I mean, we live in a sad world. Imagine if I handed this flute to Biden or to Fetterman, what they would do with it. They would either shove it up their ass or use it as kindling, or they would be so stupid they would think it was some kind of sculpture and they would pray to the eagle. Who knows? But it's certainly not a world I want to live in. Let's see if we can get this done here. And so nobody taught me that. And this is genetically, intrinsically in my blood. And I just pick up things made of wood that are carved by excellent flute craftsmen. And there's music that comes out when I blow on it. The fingers are moving from some type of memory that in my genetics. I didn't sit here and practice that. In fact, I haven't played a flute for months, maybe almost a year and a half. And I just dusted one off and brought it out here. And I said, you know what? It'll flow. That's how you should be moving through life. And earlier, I was having a conversation with my friend David. It was at the trailhead of where we film those Buddhist flags. And we were talking about human beings. And I think this is a very important lesson that I want to end this live stream with. Maybe I'll answer some questions, but the idea is a human being, because there's not a single person that I know that is very few people that I know, and almost no one that you know out there that is being a human. And I can give you an example of this. Human beings don't exist anymore because all humans are doing. They're slaves. So we have human doing, and not a single human being. Because you can't live on this earth unless you're doing something, because you have to pay your bills. And you have to answer to your girlfriend or your mother, or your wife, or your family, or whatever. You got to be doing to prove that you deserve to be who you are. But that is not what this is about. So if you're a human doing and not a human being, then no one really likes you. And that's where I got myself into, where no one really liked me in the end, because I was a human doing, not a human being. Now, many of us have to be a human doing because we've got mouths to feed and families to support. And I respect you. But you can be a human doing during that nonsense time. But as soon as you detach from your job, you need to become a human being, where you're being the person that you were meant to be, even if it's a limited time. And that's living in the moment. That's not judging anything. That's not having an ego. That's impossible for most people. And not being judgmental. When you see that person that's holding the sign up and stopping traffic, you can't be mad at them. You have to realize that their blue hair is because they're probably have a low IQ and they voted for Joe Biden. Doesn't mean they're a bad person. It means they're stupid and they watch mainstream media. And so if you continue to be a human doing, you're going to try to punch your face into them until they realize they need to be a human being. But that's not going to work. So what you need to do is take a breath, look at how ridiculous they are, and instead of being a human doing and doing something, just be a human being and allow them to do whatever their human doing is doing. And that's doing a mess on earth that is going to end in a colossal failure. Because no matter how many fake pronouns you create, no matter how many colors of hair you dye, you're still an asshole. And if I call you out on that because I'm a human doing, then I'm also part of that problem. So if you want to be a real human being, allow the human doing to do themselves in, because they're doing a great job of it. They're blocking highways and preventing people to going to their jobs. And they're killing off huge percentages of the population by sticking experimental things in their body because they're doing good. But they're not. They're just doing what they're told because they're human doing. They're doing. They're not being anything. If you have to create your own pronouns or your own gender or your own persona, and I have to believe in it, you're not doing anything real. You're in make-believe. You're human doing make-believe. But if you're a human being, you need to be. And once you be without ego, I don't care what you call me. You can call me anything you want. And I certainly don't have an ego. I am this certain thing. I don't care what I am because I am what I am. And that is the moment where everything becomes serene. The moment of serenity I had 12 years ago when I woke up that morning and I realized I didn't have to do anything to be amazing. I just had to be. And every time I breathed in, it got more amazing because I didn't care who was near me, what they thought of me, what they did to me. That was the first time I was a human being. It was about 12 years ago. And I want you to have that opportunity of being in the moment. It doesn't matter if you have nothing or something, if you're a billionaire or you're a pauper, if you have weed or you don't have weed. If you're living in the moment, you are awesome. And what happens in that flexure point of a human being is amazing. The energy and the people that start to be drawn into you because you're being makes everything okay. Maybe someone gives you $100 bill. Maybe they don't. Maybe they give you an ounce of weed. Maybe they don't. Maybe they rob you and punch you in the face. But when you sit up and you don't react, you've experienced something. and you've learned from it, and you stop doing. You're not a human doing anymore. I'm a doing human. In order to be a human being, you just have to be. And almost no one on earth knows that. And sometimes I try to set aside a few minutes of my time to teach people to be. And the walk, the several miles I walked up onto this sacred ridge that you have to know where to go. When I got up there, I had very limited information on how to get there. The trail split in several directions. And the way we had to go had no footprints. And I said to my friend, Tom at the time, who was with me, we have to go this way. And he had some cheap Walmart sneakers on, and we're in the north side of the mountain and it's snow. And he followed me. And he slipped a little. But he understood about being. Because when we got to the summit, the energy was real. And it was not for everyone. It was just for us. Because we were the only human beings there. And at that time, we were being human. And we had tapped into the energy. And as we walked down the mountain, through the switchbacks and the snow, and we entered the clearing into the sun with my new dog, Halo, and Gremlin following with a big deer leg in her mouth, we were startled by a man that was just sitting on a stump. And it was David, who was waiting for us. He said, I knew you were up there. I was just waiting for you to come down. And he was at the moment of being. And it captured me. And so I sat down as a human being, took a breath, and just became part of the moment. No purpose, no direction, no expectations. And then the glass piece that I was going to smoke pot in broke, and I couldn't even smoke pot. I'd walk for hours, thought that I would have the benefit of smoking some cannabis for this glorious walk, and I couldn't. Now I have choices at this moment. I can get upset. I can get angry. I could be like, how dare the gods destroy my pipe and not allow me to have this moment with my cannabis? But I've grown a lot older, and that didn't faze me. I just took a breath because I'm a human being. And I said, maybe there's something else I need to learn from this moment. And it was an amazing, it wasn't a moment. It lasted for 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes. The conversation was rich. We're in the middle of nowhere, no other people there. The sun dappling. We're right in the cusp of the Alpine, around 9,000 feet. 14,000 feet peaks are just 1 mile away. The temperature change from shadow to sun is 50 degrees. You stand there, it's freezing. Go over here, it's beautiful. And we're just experiencing life. Many of you have no idea what I'm talking about. We're smelling the pheromones. I'm rubbing my hand in the soil, picking it up, touching the lichen, tasting the sage. Very few people are human beings in these days and ages. And that's why I started the channel Shinrin Yoku, to bring people back to the pheromones in the forests, to start to heal themselves. There's lots of like hokey doctors. They call themselves, I don't know what they call themselves, homeopaths. Some people charge $400 an hour to talk to them. I don't charge anything. My videos are free, and these people are saying the same shit I am. The only difference is I am talking from direct experience. This just happened today. And you don't have to pay $400 an hour to talk to me. You just have to show up and share this with other people, because I'm not telling you anything special. But what I'm telling you is so special that people can charge $400 an hour for it. You know what? If I charged you for this video, then I would no longer be a human being. I'd be a human doing. And when you're a human doing to get somewhere, you're an egomaniac that is making no progress in your self-worth. And let me tell you something. When you're 40 or 50 or older like I am, you're almost dead. So every single day that you wake up is a blessing. And the less of an asshole that you are, the less you affect the matrix around you, which then perpetuates around the world. So if we all woke up tomorrow, every single human on the planet, as a human being, and did what I did today and others like me did today, the world would tilt. I mean, it would reset. Because there's no place in a world of human beings for human doings. The bankers, the cabal, the money funders, the egomaniacs. They would all be shown for who they are in an instant. And we would all point our finger at them, just like the movie. Remember, God, it affected me like nothing ever before in my entire life. Do you remember that movie with the aliens, with the pods? Yeah, that's what would happen. I think I was like 10 years old when I saw that. Yeah, you got it, Charles. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. All right, everyone give Charles Winmore $10 super chat. Chuck, I wish you had a channel. You deserve it. So Invasion of the Body Snatchers was one of the more frightening experiences in my entire life. And I realized that it had probably a bigger message, but I didn't see the message until tonight. That if we were all actually human beings and we could point out the human doings, which is most people have so much on their plate. They're preparing for like tomorrow, the next day, the next week, the next month. They have like some kind of planner that plans out every event for the next week for several months. And they're worried about everything in the room. The color of the wallpaper, this, oh my God, that. And when I'm hearing these human doings, including all the people around me, there's no people like me, unfortunately, at this moment. And I'm surrounded by human doings. And so I have to do deep breathing exercises just to exist around psychotic people that are just people. So the point I am today is that everyone surrounding me is a psychotic, is in a psychosis because they have no idea who they are. And yet I can still exist in their presence. Because I'm hoping my aura or my energy will penetrate them. It will get wide enough so they can take a breath and be like, oh, what am I doing? And they'll get the idea that they're human doing nothing. They're just wasting time, energy, and life. One of the most important conclusions I ever had in my entire enlightenment process, which has been just 2 decades, is simple. It costs no money. Please don't pay me $10 a month to give you enlightenment, because I will just repeat the same shit again and again and again. Stop being a human doing and be a human being. If you're worried about anything that's happening now or in the future, you're not a human being. You're a human doing. If you have no expectations, no wants, or no needs, you're a human being. Let's say I need water. I can do two things. I can be a human being and understand that in order to be me, I need water and go get it. No complaints, no comprisals, no expectations. I just say, the water is there. Let's go there and get it. And I go and get it and I bring it back and I'm still being me, a human, and I have water. Or I can be like, oh my God, the water's off. I've got to go get the filtered water and get a container. I've got to drive there. I got to get gas. I have to go to get my nails done and I'm going to have to miss that appointment. And then the dentist, I have to reschedule that. And then I have to pick up Jimmy at the office. And then I have to go to work early tomorrow and I'm going to do double time. My whole life is screwed. And then Jimmy and Bill, and I got to do this. And I wanted to do that. And we're going to go to vacation. The nightmare that you've created is your creation because you're a human doing. You're like a director that's not paid, that's trying to direct a movie that's called Your Life that no one's going to come watch and no one cares about. You're not even going to be on Rotten Tomatoes. You're just going to be a miserable prick for your entire existence, and your aura is so brown and dirty that it spreads thousands of feet wide and infects everyone in the fucking community around you. Your whole family, all your neighbors, every single person you drive, too slow, too fast, too wide, too pretty, my spot, how dare you? You're not handicapped. I'm fat. I'm more handicapped than you. This is how sick we are. The world is filled with 99.9% sick, fat, slow people that are being unencumbered by all the fat, sick, fat people around them. This is not the real world. Let me tell you. The last 72 hours of my life, I was surrounded by not a single one of those people. You know why? I didn't go into a Walmart. I'm not near a heavily populated area. I'm not near a Democrat city. Not a single one of those things happened to me. And they don't have to happen to you. They don't even have to happen to you if you're in those areas. You can opt out of those situations by just breathing, smiling, and moving on. You don't have to be a human doing anymore. 99% of the planet is human doers. And they're doing themselves in. They're not being anything. The whole pronoun issue, transgenders, they are the epitome of the peak of the dystopian world that's been created because no one knows what true identity is. You have to look within. It doesn't mean what your hair looks like or how much fucking makeup you have on or what you're wearing. I haven't spent full price for a single piece of clothing for 30 years. Like I can, for $100, I can get an entire wardrobe that has 800 pieces of clothes. Anyone's buying a $1,800 handbag should be shot because 1,000 people could be dressed with that money. They're not human beings. They're aliens. It's not something you should look up to. That's something you should try to eliminate from the world. There's not a single human being that's saying the Kardashians are bad. And there should be a whole group of protesters on the street for that. No, they're not. There's protesters on the street that say fossil fuels are bad and therefore 4 billion people need to starve to death and freeze because they believe, because they're using fossil fuels to heat their homes in first world countries, that everyone else should die. That's how dystopian the fucking world is. There are educated people being taught at university to kill 75% of humanity or make them feel compromised because of what they were told. They're human doers. They're doing what they're told at university that they paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for. Completely sickening. Stop being a human doer and be a human being. We need a whole campaign to get everyone out of universities, everyone out of public schools, homeschool. There is so much information at your fingertips. You could be a better teacher by simply giving your children books and saying, read them, than putting them in these situations where they are taught the lie of becoming a slave and a doer. The most impressive things ever created, the Stradivarius violin, Beethoven's works. No one told them to do this. This was during the Dark Age, during the Maunder Minimum. It got cold for hundreds of years. The crops failed. No one could go out and do anything. And people were recluses and they stayed inside and became human beings for the first time. They even called it the Renaissance. It was a renaissance of humans realizing that the potential in humans was inside them. You see, since the early 1800s, now it's going on 220 years, you've been duped and you've been undone and you've now been lied to become a human doing, not a human being. And you've been doing the works of the evil ones to create nothing, to create a slave society of inept, unartistic, unimaginary assholes that complain about lattes, for instance. Make your own fucking coffee and you'll actually understand how delicious a coffee bean is. You don't need to pay $8 from some Starbucks blue-haired schmuck to tell you what your pronoun is to get you a coffee. You can do it for about 18 cents with better beans, better sourced from human beings. No one knows this. No one is flocking to my door to buy 1,000 pounds of the most organically produced pork on the planet. No one's coming for my bacon. No one's coming for my sausage. I will not advertise it in the newspaper because I don't want human doers to come here to get it and gobble it up because they have the money. I want human beings to come here to get it because they know it's the only food that's right for them to eat. And very few people are there yet. A couple are. And more over the years have said, yeah, I want that. And guess what? They never come. They say they want it, but they go to the supermarket and they're like, oh, this shit from China that's radioactive is only $3. Fuck them. I'll just get that. So you're going to do what you do. And you're going to seek out what you believe is real. But I'm going to tell you, if you're watching some internet platforms that have millions of viewers or hundreds of thousands of subscribers, they probably got lost in the sauce and they're not human beings anymore. They're human doers. They're promoting products that they don't believe in so that they can get paid. And they're saying things that may not be true because they scare the shit out of you. And that is sick alone. And that the people following them continue to follow them because I need the information so I don't die. Well, they didn't realize that everyone dies. And you might die tonight when you fall asleep. And waking up is a blessing. So why not be blessed every day by every breath and every moment, by every experience? Because you have no expectations. You have no egotistical purpose to get somewhere or go do something. The only way I ever got somewhere was to do nothing. The less I did, the more I got and the more direction I was given. I was trying to tell someone that today, and they just looked at me like I was an idiot and said, so you did nothing and you got somewhere? I said, that's the only time I got anywhere. Because every time I thought I knew something, you get to a point and you're stuck because you're at the pinnacle of what do you know? It's only when you realize that you know nothing that you can move past that point. Because at no point past that will you know something. Once I know nothing, everything is possible. And that's why we're here. There is no such thing as consensus in science. The reason the mainstream wants to tell you that there's a 98% of everyone says global warming, pay your taxes, is because they are full of shit. If they were full of truth, there would be no taxes involved. Are you picking it up? Thank you, Rich Mountains. You want to be a blessing? Become one. You want to get a blessing? Be a blessing. People are like, what are you talking about? It's religious. No, it isn't. I hate religion. Organized religion is for bitches. It's for schmucktard, lowbrow people to create a religion so that you all give them money so that that asshole can get rich. And if you haven't picked that up and you still go to church, then you're the problem. And you're still a human doing. I'm doing. I give my money to the people at the church and God still hates me. Of course he does, because that's not what your purpose is. Your purpose is not to give some asshole $5 at the church that rapes your children. That's not the purpose. The purpose is for you to give to yourself the blessings of the universe, the freedom of a human being and being in the moment. It doesn't mean you have to be something. Being means existing in the moment. Presence. Almost no one knows how to do that. The moment you're present and you can hear everything, you can hear for miles. And all the sounds like Charlie Brown. When I go into a major city, there's no conversations I hear. I hear Charlie Brown teachers talking. But I see the pigeons, and I see the trees, and I see the wind blow, and I see the sun, and I see the suffering homeless. I'm being the human. And you can be that too. It's not easy to attain. Many of you live in it took me years to break out of it. You still have a boss to go to. You have to wake up 5 days a week to your 8-hour job. But you can break out of the matrix just like I did. I didn't think it was possible. And if I can do it, anyone can do it. Start to meditate. Get a spiritual book. Read some Eckhart Tolle. Read A Purpose-Driven Life. These are all books that will get you on the cusp. If none of that makes sense to you, read something in fiction. The Celestine Prophecy hit me hard. If you're a believer in Jesus and Christianity, read the Celestine Prophecy. It'll break you away from that. The power is within. The glowing light that you're seeking is glowing within you. It might be out. If it's out, it takes a while to relight it. Because I had a hole in my soul, which was a hole in my chest that I could stick my hand in. I thought I had no purpose. I was useless. I had no money, no job, no friends. Guess what? I have no money, no job, no friends. And I'm full of purpose right now. No, I have a couple friends. But I don't have to go anywhere tomorrow. I don't have to make anyone happy. I don't have to wake up at 7 a.m. and go to some shit job. I don't have to do that. Guess what? I don't do anything. If I want to have breakfast tomorrow, I'll go get some eggs from the chickens. I'll go get some bacon from the freezer. Some sausage from the fridge. I could do whatever I want. I'll go get some tomatoes from the greenhouse. Some kale, some chard. I could do some spinach. I will not go hungry. And 12 years ago, when I was alone in a room and felt very lonely, the same thing happened when I was in a group with 1,000 people. I felt alone. But today, I feel blessed and abundant. I feel like I'm a human being surrounded by other human beings, even when there's not another human being within 100 miles of me. Because I know that this soul, this energy coming through my pineal gland, through my antenna, is not part of me alone. I'm a useless biological entity that will die in a few decades and just turn into compost. But the words I'm speaking and the brain activity and the message I'm giving you is not me. It's us. It's the world. It's the universe. I am not speaking through Diamond. But luckily, Diamond healed himself enough to give this message to you from the universe. I have nothing to do with this. You can donate $20 to the channel through the message that's coming through me, but I didn't write this down. And I will never claim it as my own. I won't ever copyright it. I'm not going to sell a book on it because it's available for everyone. And I was in a place where I thought that no one in the world could get what I'm telling you. No one's worthy. People like me are not worthy of this information. There's probably no human that has been as down and out as I was on earth. And I don't need to get into that. So it's not even negotiable. But if I could show you where I was 15 years ago to where I am right now, night and day. And back then I was medicated from the powers that be, 15 pharmaceuticals, antipsychotics, antidepressants. I was clinically diagnosed with this, that, and the other. None of this shit is real. It's part of the human condition. And we are now conditioned to be slaves that are medicated slaves. And the less money you make, the cheaper the products you buy, the more medicated you need to be, and the more in the system you have to be to survive and continue on with your CPAP and your diabetic medication and your tests. I can't imagine any of that. That's not the world I live in. So my paradigm is not that world. And the only way you cannot be in that world is to have the mindset to not be in that world. 20 years ago, when I said I'd never go to a doctor, I meant it to myself. And therefore, I will never go to a doctor. Maybe I have a heart attack and I'm on the street. Someone calls the ambulance. They'll have to take me there. But when I get there, I'm going to rip the shit out and walk out of the building. Trust me, I've done it before. And they told me, you can't do that. And I looked at them and I said, who the fuck do you think you are? And I walked right out. And guess what? Nobody came for me. Because you know what? They're trying to make money. They're not trying to make you well. Holy hell. The only time I've been in a hospital was about 22 years ago when I had to, and I shot a nail through my leg. And they had to fly a guy in from I don't know where they flew him into to do a surgery to take this out because it was by a particular artery. And they had to give me a spinal. And I told 100 people that came, I said, don't want a spinal. I'm not taking a spinal. He's going to do it while I'm not having a spinal. And then this doctor flew in and he explained to me how excruciating the pain would be. And I said, look, I might go paralyzed. I don't want a spinal. He said, no, he told me. He gave me the facts. He said, I've done 8,348 of these. So you think like it was data. Not a single person is paralyzed. I said, all right, do the spinal. And he did it. And then he continued to fuck with me. After he gave me the spinal, he's like, all right, come here. I want to show you something. I was like, ugh. He's like, ha! Gotcha. And then he cut my foot open and shot water through it. So not everyone in the medical game is a charlatan. There are some good doctors and there's some bad doctors. But overall, the majority of doctors are brainwashed people with very low IQs that made it into that position, that read the book, and they're not. Here, this is something I need to tell you. And I believe this wholeheartedly. My mentor at university at Temple, brilliant man, one of the top geologists of his time in the 1970s. He was blackballed because he was a catastrophist and not a uniformitarianist. But Peter Goodwin is a hero and a genius and maybe one of the most brilliant scientists in the world to this day, but no one knows of him. But I was so confused in my early graduate years when I'm teaching 300 people in a lecture hall and only 5 people are looking at me. And I keep looking out there. This is before like student loans were easy and all that shit. It was right during affirmative action, by the way. But it's crazy that all the Black and Asian students were actually the ones that were looking at me. So the majority of the people don't care. You're in a lecture hall with 350 people. There's like 8 people watching me. And I spent hours preparing this lecture. And I would get fed up after 15 minutes. I would be like, scream into my microphone. Why are you here? And then they would all look at me. They were offended. And I'd be like, are you guys offended now? Get the fuck out. And they would leave. And I would have like 15 people left. And I would explain to them, there's no purpose for those people being in here. They don't want to even be here. So why the fuck are they taking up our space and time? That's the world you live in. And this is not new. I'm talking about 1991. So that's like 31 years ago. Nothing has changed. It's only gotten worse. And my professor reiterated that. I said, why the hell does no one care? And he said, look, and this is his experience. He's dead now, probably. %82 of the population are not human beings. They're human doings. And they're human idiots. So we only have a small percentage of the people on Earth that even understand what I'm talking about right now. 18%. And everyone here that's in the chat and they're still in here, you're part of the 18%. It doesn't matter if you're college educated. It doesn't matter if you have a graduate degree. It doesn't matter if you understand what I'm saying in advanced lecture topics or advanced videos or something like that. You would be the people that are in the front listening to what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is not difficult to understand. It's because you want to understand. You want to learn because you're being a human in the present. The rest of them just wanted the degree to make 6 figures at a job at Twitter that they already got fired for. Thank you, Elon. And if I had his power, I would have fired them all too. Who knew? Now you do. The funny thing is that Leah went to school with Elon at Penn. And he was just like a scam artist. And he started a non-fraternity next to the fraternities and sold liquor at his own bar. Genius. So he was a genius back then. But I do digress. Yeah, you don't need that piece of paper. S. Michael. In fact, I spent all that money on all my pieces of paper. Not a single person at any job ever asked to look at my piece of paper. I'm 51 and no one ever asked me to see a fucking single credential for any job I've ever had in my entire life. None. They ask you to fill out the paperwork and you just blah, 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 blah. But I never needed to pay $50,000 to go to graduate school. I never needed to pay $38,000 to go to undergrad. I never needed to pay any of it because no one ever asked me for my piece of paper. I never even paid for the fucking piece of paper. That's how much I cared about the piece of paper. You see all the things that are all the shit hanging behind me, all my degrees. I guarantee when I have an office, which is going to be right over there, in my big desk, my studio, my green screen, there's not going to be a single degree behind me that says buy my silver product because I'm a PhD charlatan. You know why? Because I'm not a human doer. I'm a human being. Someone asked me like at the event this weekend, how do you come here and just give out thousands of dollars worth of weed? Because I can. And because when I show people that you can do that, I want to inspire other people to do what I'm doing. Can you imagine if everyone in the world, imagine if there were supermarkets that just gave out everything they had and all the food? They could do it. There are people that could do it. Jeff Bezos could do it. Elon Musk could do it. And his wife could do it, that are giving out hundreds of millions of dollars to woke climate shit that are just wasting money on salaries that are going to do fucking nothing for anyone. How about you feed people? How about you take $80 billion that you're giving away, Mr. Bezos, to give it to a supermarket and say, give away all your products for 10 years. See what, and do you imagine the communities around there, how they would react? Could you imagine the innovation, the creativity, the networks? This is what was happening pre-Ice Age, when we were living in a permaculture society that was practically telepathic. Mu, Atlantis. Before the end of that empire. It was growing in a way that was self-abundant. The more abundant, the bigger you grow, the more terraces we make, the better we get. Everyone was working collectively together to make these amazing structures, to tap these amazing forces. And then it got smashed down, obliterated, and now we've been compromised by evil entities that have kept us slaves now for 8,000 fucking years. I think it's time we end this. And if we got enough human beings on the planet, we can think it away. Hope you got something out of the video. Love you guys. Be safe. See you tomorrow.